There's no doubt that assembling the right team for a deal is very, very important. On the one hand, you want to have people along who will contribute constructively to the negotiations. But on the other hand, though, in most organisations, you have different constituencies of thought around the place. That needs to be represented in the team as well. So the key thing really is preparation. Getting the team into a conference room for preparatory sessions in advance of the meeting so that you can create agreed positions across the group. And also create a mechanism for identifying if there are any internal areas of disagreement in the negotiations. Call a timeout. Slip next door with your negotiating team, re-establish agreement on the relevant issue, and then go back in. The key thing to avoid is any sense that the other side can observe a sense of disagreement on your team. If you do that, it can have fatal consequences. So make sure you take your disagreements offline, outside the negotiating room.
Well, certainly when I was working with the IDA and with the Trade Board and was working with the Ireland Funds, bringing in outsiders who were experts, bringing in outsiders who really knew what was going on, sort of was the added sort of icing on the cake, if you like. I was just thinking of one particular example when we had a very successful technology person from the West Coast, from Silicon Valley, who was passionate about music, and we arranged a dinner in the National Gallery in Ireland, and we brought John O'Connor along. John O'Connor is a famed Irish musician. We actually had Seamus Heaney come and give some poetry. We also had Gregory Peck, who was a film star from the United States, come. And we used all these three people to create an extraordinary evening, a very passionate evening. And towards the end of the evening, we asked this particular person, would he be willing to fund John O'Connor to record all of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonatas, and of course he did. It was a very significant contribution, but it was using these outside influences to bring in and add, if you like, to the overall impact of what we were trying to achieve.
Yeah, sure. Knowing the tendencies of this abrasive leader in this other team, I knew what failings he would be able to identify from my own team's work, and that he would essentially use these as weapons in our next engagement. So after a few of these run-ins, I adjusted my own style to take a much more self-critical, transparent approach with him. So in other words, I took the weapons he'd later try to use against us, and I'd put them on the table first thing, full stop. So without that card in his back pocket, he frankly didn't have the opportunity to lay into us, and we were actually able to shift a lot of our conversations towards solutions to our mutual problems rather than these one-sided conversations about how we'd let him down. And it certainly meant that I had to dial back my own defensiveness, however, and my tendency to want to protect my own team.